viejazo. Soy Enrique Byrnes y presidente de esa mejor cerveza. No abate por No Filter Network. Miguelito San Dieguito not here today. Will the Thrill not here today. But we have, ladies and gentlemen, the all-time hits leader in the history of the Pac-12. Stanford's arguably greatest baseball player. And it'd be a big argument, actually.
In college, maybe.
In college, it matters. I mean, we go to judge, and this is interesting. And USA Baseball President John Gall, by the way, welcome.
Pleasure to be here.
Let's properly salute our boys. We do Dead or Alive each and every single morning. So hands up in the air, ready? Yes, 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 yes. And then we say, when you're juiceful, you are useful. And when we're juiceless, we are fucking useless.
Okay.
So microphone is up here. Hopefully, maybe someone in the live audience can let us know if you can hear us or not. We have no clue. Normally, I've been using this Rode mic, which is right here, by the way, the little soundboard, which has been fantastic. But it only has one microphone slot. So we're now running it off of the Mima. Michelle Drew, we love you. Thanks for joining from Arizona, the desert flatlands, as Kowalski would call it. So, Gall, dude, here we are in the 14th day of October. And we did one of my favorite things last night. And this goes back to, us as kids. I feel like we started doing this in high school or maybe junior high at some point, going over the football lines late last night with tequilas in hand after smoking a bunch of meats.
Yeah, so my late Uncle Fred, who we all know really well.
Double Scott Point.
Yeah. He used to run a book up at Emerald Downs in Seattle for years and years. And so my family had this long history of understanding football gambling. In fact, my cousin, I think at the age of 6, she turns to her dad and says, "Dad, what's the over-under and which side do we need?" So we grew up in this culture, my family, and the best way to figure out what games you like that week is, well, come up with your own lines. So obviously Vegas has got more information than we do.
Yeah.
They do. But we've all watched the games, and we're as educated watching football as anybody in Vegas. Let's be honest, 40-something years of we're close to watching football in our lives. So we sat there last night. You go down each one, each game, and inevitably there's a game that we think Vegas has wrong. Like it's off 4 or 5 points, or even sometimes it's just a point or two, but it's on that key number, like a 3 or a 6 or something where we would like a side. But also from all the years, Eric, you still impress me. I think you might have drilled 3 or 4 lines exactly on the number.
That's crazy.
And you had an 8.5 number.
An 8.5.
That was the one that blew me away yesterday. And I don't have the numbers in front of me right now, but there was an 8.5, which is a hard number. Usually you can get the 3s, 3.5s, 7s, but 8.5 you got right yesterday.
Well, it's funny because I was looking at that line and I'm like, it's higher than 7.5, but it's not quite 10 sort of thing. And 8.5 is a very rare line, right? Let's go to the NFL and let's take a look, because we're talking about next week's games, right? We're not talking about this week's games. So and those are the ones we want to get the jump on. But you had, I guess these are all last week's on my Action website. But tonight, let's just start here before we even get into next week's lines, which I just love fucking doing, because it tells you initially, before digesting all the information that Vegas has, instinctually, are we on the right side? The one tonight that just baffles me. I mean, fucking baffles me. And I'm putting in a 3-unit play on Action. Now, what does that mean? It means nothing, because these are just plays that I'll fire in and I save just for fun. Let's talk about this. The Buffalo Bills are at the New York Jets. The Bills are laying a 1.5 against a team that just fired their fucking coach. I don't. The Bills are coming off 2 tough defeats. This is a good football team. Started 3-0, now 3-2. Something to prove. Are we literally basing lines based on Aaron Rodgers from fucking 5 years ago? Like, why is it that the Bills aren't getting their respects here? I mean, if they're playing the Jets at home, you're telling me they're no more than what? 4. Actually, what is this? 6-point swing?
Well, what is it? Buffalo -1. I mean, I don't trust this game. This would be if we were running a show, this would be my stay away game.
Stay away.
Just
because the line doesn't make sense.
No, not the line. It's actually not the line for me. It's when you fire a coach. I've watched this over the years. It's like weird things happen where suddenly the team that fired the coach and everything was upside down, and they come out and beat some team that they don't. I don't like this game tonight. I wouldn't touch it. I feel like the Jets, and I don't like the Jets. I don't think the Bills are a better team. The Bills should win this game. Josh Allen has been playing like garbage. All right. He really is not. This has not been the Josh Allen we've seen. He was like 6 for 20 something last week. He was not good at. This is not the Allen. He's not in the groove that he gets in. When he's good, he's the best quarterback on the planet. I mean, I really think that are right there with the best quarterback. But so there's just a bunch of question marks tonight. So I'd stay away from this one and jump to next week.
Wait. That's fine. So I just took the Bills right now. -120 on the money line. Fuck the 1.5.
Okay.
I'll take them on the money line.
They're a better team, so that you're going to make. They're a better team. I will say that. But the Jets' defense is good, and the Bills have been struggling on offense. It's probably an undercall, to be honest. Now that I'm talking about it out loud.
You know who the Bills could use? It's the Jets would say the same thing as Devontae Adams. So we'll see what ends up happening with him. But the Bills they're missing that number one receiver. And even though Stephon Diggs, and you could give him all the shit you want and whatever, and I've heard that he was a bad teammate and all this stuff. Look, sometimes you need these guys there to keep everybody else in check. And even if he's not getting X amount of targets a game, when I think it was Joe Brady, the offensive coordinator, came over and replaced Ken Dorsey, Diggs didn't get the targets he wanted. But remember this, having that number one receiver becomes decoy, right? So that certainly has hurt the Bills not having that number one guy.
Well, that's why when you lose Hutchinson for Lions, that just makes the rest of their line have to pick it up. Now they're not double teaming Hutchinson. Like that whole line and the whole thing gets screwed up. But that's why, like we were talking next week, the two games that stood out to us yesterday, right? And one includes the Jets next week, but it's the Steelers at home versus the Jets, and they're only giving 2. Yeah. Which was below what we thought that should be at by. And then, of course, the other one that sticks out, which makes us seem like a homer, but we're really not on this one. The Niners only giving 1 at home to the Chiefs. And those two games were like, they instantly hit for us when we went over the numbers.
You're not going to convince me that the Chiefs are a better football team than the Niners right now. They're just not. If the Niners now, look, you get Christian McCaffrey back, I get it. Like they're not necessarily firing on all cylinders, but they certainly, in my opinion, should be 3-point favorite. The Chiefs haven't been great. The Chiefs have figured out ways to fucking win themselves, but the Chiefs very easily could have a couple losses under their belt already.
It's off by about 2.5 points. I think it should be Niners -3.5, and it's Niners -1. And then when we looked at that other game, that it's already out there, and who knows what happens with the Jets tonight? But Jets on a short week going to Pittsburgh, and then Pittsburgh's been playing great. Yeah, I think that could be 4, and it's at 2. So I mean, those are the two, and that's the NFL for you. It's like we're talking about 2 points either way, but that's what the NFL is.
And Bills are at home next week, coming off a short week as well, playing another big. Who?
The Bills are at home against the Titans.
The Titans. That's right. And then that was the 8.5 number.
Yeah, which I was impressed.
That's what I drew.
Being that you're a Bills fan, that you kind of knew that one dead on.
Yeah, I mean, you follow a team closer. So, Gall, let me get into today's Daily Hustle real quick, and then let's get into all things baseball before we get out here and go play pickleball. Buenos dias. Today is Monday, October 14, 2024. Daily Hustle quote of the day: love and work are the cornerstones of our humanness. Sigmund Freud. Daily Hustle translation: certain things in life are essential to our existence. Air, food, water generally sit at the top of the list simply in order to keep us alive. Yet, as Freud suggests, it would be very easy to make the argument that love and work should most certainly be included. It's no coincidence that oftentimes when we see people lose a loved one, typically a spouse for a very long time, then a short time later, the other person goes. It's also not a coincidence that after many people retire, they are dead not long after. Ah, fuck, Byrnes. But I like being single, and I sure as hell don't want to work for the rest of my damn life. What am I supposed to do? Well, good morning, Mr. Supersoft. It's okay to be single, but it's imperative we build meaningful relationships based on genuine, heartfelt love. And no, you don't have to work the rest of your life, but you do have to have a reason for pulling your head off the pillow each morning and a real purpose for charging each day. That said, let's just all make sure to keep loving and keep working. Our life very much depends on it. EBPS, please click blue link below to join me and USA Baseball president, Stanford alum, and Pac-12 all-time hits leader John Gall on this AM's Daily Hustle, and click pick for a recap of this past weekend's PPA tourney Biscuit and I battled in. And that's it. So there's your Daily Hustle for this morning. Gall, your thoughts on love and work?
This is a really good one. It's simple.
Thanks.
This is all life is. It's not that complicated. These are two pillars that make us human. So it's just great. I love this one today. I really do. You put get some good sleep too. By the way, sleep makes you productive. I had a nice. I have always have trouble sleeping in altitude. The first night I had a great night of sleep, and man, do I feel great today. It reminds me how important sleep is.
Okay, so the first thing that I want to bring up, obviously, the Dodgers rolled 9-0, Game 1, National League Championship Series. They had a string of bunts. Tommy Edman, Gavin Lux, both bunted, sacrifice bunts. On top of that, to help the Dodgers over the Mets. So I want to get your thoughts on this. It says exactly 36 years ago on Tuesday, we're going to celebrate that in tomorrow's Daily Hustle, that Kirk Gibson hit his famous walk-off home run against Dennis Eckersley, hobbled around the bases of Dodger Stadium. A 1988 World Series Game 1 winning shot that was so stunning, it elicited this famous response from Jack Buck on the national radio broadcast. I don't believe what I just saw. If Buck were still alive at Chavez Ravine on Sunday, he might have a similar reaction, a pair of peculiar plays that lacked the drama of a walk-off homer, but seemed almost as rare. Not once, but twice. In the first 4 innings of the National League Championship Series opener against the New York Mets, the Dodgers dropped perfectly placed sacrifice bunts. Yes, you read that correctly. A Dodgers team that led all of baseball, 446 slugging percentage, ranked third with 233 home runs, and had all of 10 sacrifice bunts in 162 regular season games, gave up 2 outs to advance runners on the base path. And guess what? The small ball strategy worked as both runners moved up by bunts. Number 9 hitter Tommy Edman, number 8 hitter Gavin Lux scored a 9-0 Game 1 victory over the Mets on a Shohei Ohtani RBI single in the second inning and an Edman RBI single in the fourth. It's just playoffs, Dodgers manager Dave Roberts said. The truth of the matter is that the postseason is different than the regular season. It's about 90 feet and giving yourself. Some of that was making sure Shohei had a chance to get up. Okay, let's just start there.
I can't wait to talk about this.
Yeah.
And I want to jump in. So this is Dave Roberts. This is Dave Roberts. We're talking about Dave Roberts. We're not talking about baseball.
Correct.
This is a manager who has not had the success in the postseason that he honestly probably should have had. He is making adjustments, doing things different. And this is why I think the Dodgers are going to be the world champions this year.
Agree.
So,
agree.
And because the Dodgers and Dave, I mean, he's had some probably some hard sleeps after some of these postseasons, some things that he has done or hasn't done. But this is just smart baseball. And it's understanding playoff baseball. It's understanding the game today. It's also trusting in his pitching. It's not. This reminds me of punting on the 3-yard line and pinning a team back deep because you trust your defense. This is, hey, I trust my pitching. If I just get a couple extra runs, then or a couple runs, I'm safe. I'm impressed with Dave, and hope it pays off for him.
And what better guy to get the sacrifice bunt than Tommy Edman, a Stanford guy?
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, but this is the truth of the matter is everybody. I mean, all these guys can bunt, okay, and bunt is really just a will of the mind, right? I mean, when you ask them to bunt, these guys are pros. They've done it over and over and over again. It's really not that difficult to bunt. I mean, to hit a 97-mile-an-hour fastball is one thing, and to square it up with the bat, but to get it out there, deaden it, and move a guy over. And the defense, by the way, the bunt defense. This is one thing I see is we don't have a lot of Greg Maddoxes out there anymore that bounce off the mound and pounce and get them at second.
Yeah.
It's rare to have a pitcher that really takes pride in his defense, so you don't have to be perfect with these bunts.
Okay, and I will say this because you're right. The bunt defense is, I think, more teams than not are just going to take the fucking out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why am I going to mess? If you're going to give me an out, I'm going to take that out. I think the big thing you said is Dave Roberts' ability to adjust, to adapt, to figure out a way to overcome past failures. And what do we need to do differently? Now, for years, he's argued like, well, hey, it's baseball and postseason baseball is the same as the regular season. Well, the matter of fact is it's not. And if you look at the fact that the runs are such a premium and you have a Dodgers staff now that hasn't given up a fucking run in 30 plus innings, all I need is a run. And if you think all I need is a run, now the other thing is that you want to get up, and especially when you're getting to 8-9, all I want, especially with Shohei Ohtani hitting leadoff, is my guy up while guys are on base. So you're going to sacrifice him coming up solo with no one on base the first time just so he can get the most at bats on the team, right? And it's actually it's funny because I understand in a regular season 162 game ultra marathon season, I understand Shohei Ohtani hitting leadoff because he'll get more at bats.
Mm-hmm.
In the postseason, I would actually argue I would say the opposite, but I would make a stern argument for hitting him third or even fourth, because that's the one guy I gotta have coming up with fucking somebody on base. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. I mean, I still like him a little bit higher in the lineup. Second, even would be a spot, like, because we have such a good leadoff options.
Where would you hit your best hitter right now? You're a big league manager. You're managing a kids team.
It's a tough answer because it depends on the hitter. What type of hitter? Is it Mookie Betts? I'm going to hit him leadoff, right? If it's Ohtani, then I might drop him to second or third. I'm not hitting him fourth. I think it's too far down the lineup. I think you're more likely to miss an at bat at the end. Now, but if you're, with the Dodgers, they're so top heavy and they're all such good hitters up there that dropping Shohei is safer to do in that lineup because other guys are just as likely to friggin' drive him in.
Well, here's the deal. If you put Shohei third and you go Betts 1, Freddie Freeman 2, Shohei third, what are the odds of him coming up with a runner on base in the first inning? Like, really fucking good, because I have such a high confidence in either, obviously, Betts getting on or Freddie Freeman getting on. So then you don't have to sacrifice that first at bat with Shohei hitting without anyone on base.
You only bat third your first at bat. So let's be clear. You're only the 3-hitter, 1 at bat.
Correct.
So you get up there. So you're absolutely right for the first inning. That's what you're betting on. But you're betting on 1 at bat. The rest of it, he's batting fourth, second, leadoff, whatever it is. So I don't know. I generally I like to bat my best hitter as high in the lineup as possible. But how fast are they and all that kind of there's some,
but not one, man. Like, I'm just not like lineup construction. I'll just say for LTV.
Yeah.
As I do this all the time, even when I was managing the Bananas, 1 and 2. If I bat my best hitter third, and I put 2 guys that I know one of the 2 are going to get on base, I'm guaranteeing, and I think this is why 4 is really important in youth baseball too. You don't go 1, 2, 3 in youth baseball.
Yeah.
You just don't. Our guys get on every fucking inning. Does it happen? Has it happened where we've gone 1, 2, 3? It has happened, but I would say in the, let's call it, say if we played 1,000 youth games in our career here, which is, that number's not. That's overexaggerated. Say 500. I would say it's probably happened a total of 5 times ever in the 500 games where we've gone 1, 2, 3 in the top of the first or bottom of the first.
Yeah,
Is that about right?
Yeah, it's probably. I'm sure.
So that means a 4-hitter's coming up in the first inning every single time. So that's why youth baseball is different.
Yeah, youth baseball is definitely different. But anyway, I just think that the Dodgers with the bunts, their lineup really does fit at the bottom of their lineup to bunt, get to the top of the lineup, and have guys drive them in. But I like to see it. And then you're right about playoff baseball is different. The other thing different about playoff baseball is, I mean, these pitchers that are on strict pitch counts, and honestly, they have, they pitch Monday, they're not going to pitch till Thursday. They've got everything lined up with off days and all that, particularly relievers. They get pushed in the playoffs, which means you have the best pitchers out there longer. So it's more difficult to hit. It's more difficult to get runs, right? I mean, you're not getting to the bottom of the bullpen. It's very rare to get to the bottom of the bullpen in a playoff series.
Mm-hmm. Jack Flaherty threw 7 scoreless frames, helping the Dodgers tie an MLB postseason record with 33 consecutive innings without allowing a run. They now share the mark with the 1966 Orioles, who set it against the Dodgers in a World Series sweep. So the Dodgers staff it's depleted, right? You had guys like Clayton Kershaw and Tyler Glasnow. Dudes that you thought were going to be the reason behind what would be a streak like this and a reason why they would be where they are today. Yet they have now pieced together these innings, not only with guys like Flaherty, Yamamoto, who was brilliant in that final game, 5 scoreless against San Diego of the NLDS, but realistically, Gall, it's the bullpen. And it's the management of the bullpen. They call it bullpen chaos. AJ Hinch coined that term. The Tigers got 1 game away from the American League Championship Series by fucking bullpenning. Are we looking at a new wave, a new generation of how managers manage games?
No. I think it depends on the team and it depends on your roster. Who do you have? I do think that you no longer have to look at your organization and be, all right, I need 5 starters and I need 7 relievers or whatever your construction is. It's like, okay, I've got 3 starters that are really good. And maybe I've got 12 relievers. So for the season wise, I totally agree. You can now you can construct things different. I remember sometimes getting best pitchers sent to AAA, guys that are better than pitchers in the big leagues, but they're starters, right? Remember this? It's like, oh, what? They're better than all the 4 bullpen guys in the big leagues. That has changed. So that has changed. But I don't think realistically, if you have 5 starters, you still want to run them out there and you still want to do it. What's so remarkable about this Dodgers run is it's 2024. When we're talking about pitching records, I think they're tied to 1966 Baltimore Orioles.
Mm-hmm.
This is different. And then the 70s A's team, we're in a totally different generation. And by the way, it's been nice and warm in LA too. They're pitching. They're not pitching in freezing cold. It's an incredible record. I think it's 1 more inning and they break the Orioles record from 66. But in those days, hell, that was a pitching era.
Yeah.
And it's not today.
The Yankees and the Tribe tonight, no longer known as the Tribe, the Cleveland Guardians. Stephen Vogt, in his first year as manager, has done a terrific job. Speaking of bullpens, their bullpen has been lights out. Class A, one of the best relievers, if not the best reliever we've seen in a very long time. Just looking at the numbers. The Yankees star power, you got Judge, you got Stanton, who did great against the Royals. You have Juan Soto. Where are you on the Yankees and the Guardians, and who do you like in this one?
The Yankees aren't as deep as the Dodgers are, I don't think. But I like the Yankees, and I'm going to go to, this is Aaron Boone. And it's so, I was watching his press conference. His tone has changed. Him and Dave Roberts have some similar, Dave's had better teams, I think, in LA. But Aaron's you can tell he's there's a little bit of an underdog role. Setting up everybody. The expectation shouldn't be for us to win the whole thing. We're a flawed team. He keeps saying that. We're a flawed team. We know it, but we overcome it. So that he's trying to find a different way to take pressure off of a team. And there's no doubt to me that the Yankees, even with the Dodgers run, that's the biggest pressure cooker in baseball. So he's also seems to be kind of taking a different tact. And personally, I like the Yankees, but I mean, these series are 50-50, to be honest with you. I mean, at some level.
Really? I like the Yankees too. I don't see them as 50-50. The Dodgers, I think, should be significant favorites. I thought this even before last night in the 9-0 victory, but I think the Yankees are primed to take this one down. So tonight it's going to be Alex Cobb against Carlos Rondon. And now they said here's some storylines to watch. Guardians is guards ball potential kryptonite for the Yankees. It says if you look at just how they match up position by position, the Guardians are not going to come out ahead of the Yankees. Cleveland has one star, Jose Ramirez, and a whole bunch of complementary players. The thing about these complementary players, though, is that they slot in quite nicely in a platoon that allows rookie managers to even vote all sorts of options when playing a team like the Yankees, which tends to deploy a traditional top-heavy rotation and lineup. New York is not a team built for the pitching chaos the Tigers used against the Guardians in the ALDS, which it should be said actually did cause Cleveland some trouble. So what AJ was doing is fucking brilliant. You start a lefty, right? So he loads up his lineup. Steve Vogt loads up his lineup with righties, and then you pull the lefty right away. I mean, it's your opener, and then you go to the righties and you start matching up early on. I think, dude, it's fucking wild. Hey, I truly believe this is the future of postseason baseball. I don't think you could do this in the regular season because I don't think there's enough arms in your system to get you through it. I do think you could pull it off, though, in the postseason with one starter, two legit starters. It was nice. Like, make no mistake about it. The Dodgers, who were planning on bullpenning, basically, got 5 out of Yamamoto. I guarantee you going into that game, you got Dave Roberts or Bob Garen. They didn't expect to get 5 from him, right? But so here you are, the Cleveland Guardians, they have the potential to do the same thing from an offensive standpoint. I worry. I mean, there's something about fucking playing every day and getting those at bats. So these guys are playing every day. That is a thing. They're so aggressive with the pinch hitting and in the platoons.
Yeah, I'm not on the same page as you completely on this one. And by the way, just for the record, the Mets have the best record in baseball in the last freaking 5 months. So to say that they're a big underdog, I don't buy that.
I don't look bigger.
But the Dodgers have home field and all that. But staying on this series, I think it's more about not this philosophy, it's their ability to be more versatile. I think I'm calling it something different. So because of the way that the pitching is set up now and the types of pitchers that you have in the bullpen, that you can pull a guy really fast because there's just a lot of depth that all these teams seem to have in the bullpen. As far as hitting and matchups, I just think they've got a bunch of good hitters. I mean, Cleveland's just got a bunch of good players. So there's the other thing that I can't quantify this at all, but having everybody on the team involved really makes, and we've both been in postseason clubhouses. I mean, this is something that just kind of dawned on me right now. When you're and that's a National League thing, right? And whether or not you're just getting a pinch hit or you're getting a guy that's going in a defensive replacement when we had double switches and all that, it's really important to the camaraderie because when you get to postseason and suddenly the guy that was playing a couple times a week is just sitting there holding his bat in the corner, waiting for his time, and he never gets called on, that's not good for the clubhouse, right? And so I do like the fact that they're rotating everyone in and getting. I think it could help with the clubhouse. But at the end of the day, Judge hits a 3-run home run off of him, and then friggin' whatever. The home run is still the equalizer in the game.
It is, but the home run's harder to do when you're facing tougher pitching in the postseason, right? Yeah. You're making sure that Aaron Judge doesn't have an at-bat against a guy second, third time around, whatever it is, or a reliever that maybe you're trying to stretch too far. So speaking of Judge, it says here, when is he going to get going? Derek Jeter had his Mr. November homer. Reggie Jackson had his 3-homer game. Heck, do you even remember how great Alex Rodriguez was in 2009 postseason? 365 average, 5 doubles, 6 homers, 18 RBIs, 12 walks. In case you forgot, I did forget. The point is that you're going to reach theoretical and possibly not real at all true Yankee status, or at least whatever A-Rod ended up in at the Bronx. You need yourself some postseason moments. Judge, as we repeat constantly, may have just had that best season by a right-handed hitter ever But not only is he lacking that sort of memorable postseason moment, his postseason numbers are so far below his career numbers, they look like they've come from a different guy entirely. In 48 career playoff games, that's nearly a third of a whole season. Judge has a 207, 316, 446 slash line. This year, he's 2 for 13 after going 1 for 16 in the ALCS, lost to the Astros 2 years ago. I used to say it was coincidence. And I said with Bonds, it was coincidence, right? Struggled. I think that when those guys get highlighted so often during the postseason, where I'm not going to let this guy beat me. And so what you do is you expand your zone, you start chasing, you're trying to do too much. Bonds for a long time struggled until 2002, and he just fucking went off and became the best player on earth. And here we see it with Aaron Judge. Coincidence? Fluke type thing, or is there something real here?
Oh, this is real. 100% real. Let's not even, the fact we're making excuses for this, no. The lights are on, you show up, okay? This is, I mean, I've seen this in, take Lamar Jackson, who is like in playoffs, it's a different guy, right? The best guys get better, okay? They get better. Now, he has time to get better. And baseball's a little different in that way where even playoffs are long. So, I mean, this next series, you can get hot and all is forgiven, right? They win one. But this is not just a fluky trend. This is real.
It's a third of the season,
Yeah,
right? Like the sample size is so big. If you said, okay, he's been in the postseason and he's got 10 games in the postseason, he's got 15 games, even if he has 20 games in the postseason, he has 46 games in the postseason and he hasn't produced. And again, I'm going to stick to my theory that when you're the fucking dude, all the pressure, all the attention goes to you. But if we're the opposing manager and bench coach in the other dugout, I'm like, I'm not letting this fucking guy beat me. Period, right?
Well, I mean, everybody brings their A game. So you're facing their A game, but you need to bring your A game, right? And right now, I mean, you watch Ohtani. It's the first time he's been in the playoffs, right? And he's battling up there, and he's been getting some big hits. Judge has plenty of experience. I mean, this is on him. He's got to figure it out. I don't know what the secret sauce is for him, but he's one of the greatest hitters on the planet all year long, and he's just not right now.
NLCS Game 2. So this game, by the way, goes off tonight at 7:38 p.m. Eastern Time, 4:38 Pacific. That'll be on TBS. And then later on, I take that back, at 4:08 p.m. Eastern Time, so it's 1:08 p.m. in 2 hours from now. This is fucking stupid. I don't know why they're doing this. This is ridiculous. But we're going to get a daytime matinee. The Mets and the Dodgers Game 2 will be Sean Manaea of the Mets going against LA's bullpen, we imagine. It says TBA. The storylines here, can they stop their heads from spinning? The Mets didn't expect to get too many innings from Kodai Senga in Game 1. The guy throwing 7 or third major league innings all season up to this point, after all. But it's fair to say they were hoping it would take fewer than 3 pitches to get their first 7 outs, and that they wouldn't be down 6-0 before they got their first fucking hit. Okay. Yeah, the Mets, I mean, the rebound, the 9-0.
Who cares? It's one game.
Who gives a shit, right? I don't think the Mets
5-4, whatever. If the Mets win today,
yeah,
arguably they're in the driver's seat.
They are.
So
one game.
So and that's all it is you go 1-1 on the road and you go back home. The Mets are in a great position, and they've been super hot. Their chemistry's been incredible. They've had their backs against the wall, and they've performed. I expect this to be a great series. So I still think the Mets. I do think this one's truly a 50-50.
Okay.
But I can make arguments for why both teams can win, and they're fun. These two teams, these personalities on these teams are just a blast. I love them all.
Well, Sean Manaea has been great, man. And so if he's able to throw the ball the way he does, at some point, this fucking Dodgers pitching run is going to come to an end. And that's the other storyline here. It says you might have heard the Dodgers pitching hasn't allowed a run in a while. 33 innings to be precise. In fact, if they keep the Mets off the board in the top of the first in Game 2, they will pass the 1966 Orioles. We talked about that. But one hopes the Dodgers aren't getting too smirky about happy advantage they had against the Mets in Game 1 with Jack Flaherty going up against a patchwork mountain crew, because the tables are going to turn for the next 2 games. With Yoshinobu Yamamoto having pitched Game 5 of the NLDS on Friday it's going to be quite the challenge for manager Dave Roberts to piece things together until then. Flaherty's strong 17 certainly helps and allows Roberts to go with a bullpen game on Monday ahead of Tuesday's travel day, thereby saving Walker Buehler, who has been shaking all year for Game 3. The Dodgers bullpen has been excellent in the postseason, and it's not like the Mets are knocking the cover off the ball right now, but this is quite the weight to carry. Can they keep it going and make some more history? Yeah, Gall, I'm with you, man. I think the Mets could get back into this today. At some point, the bullpen's just going to get taxed.
That's what I think too. And I, by the way, the Mets, yes, they didn't swing it yesterday, but I mean they've been swinging it. So it's not, this isn't, and they had a little bit of time off. I think this can be a great series, and I almost think the Dodgers, if, in some ways, need this game today. I mean, like if the Mets get this thing really flips fast. In New York in the playoffs, and I mean particularly, it's funny, you know, the Mets fans who are just very different, I think, than the Yankees fans. That's a tough place to play. That's a great environment. One of the best in baseball.
Mets?
Yeah,
it is
really,
cool, huh?
It's really cool.
GM search and more offseason questions facing the Giants. Gall, Buster Posey, director of baseball ops now, president of baseball operations, needs to go hire himself a GM. Farhan Zaidi out. Not even getting into Farhan. It's not, honestly, not worth it or anything, but it's, you know, obviously they parted ways and Farhan did what he did. I think he tried to do it his way. It obviously didn't work out. And then slowly you could see management or ownership starting to take back the reins a little bit. He's out. Who do the Giants need to go get to help Buster Posey right this ship?
As a GM?
Yes.
You know, as important as it is with a GM, I really think whatever, this comes from Buster, it's just like emphasis of scouting, development, pushing young guys up. These teams that have success all have this core of young guys that got to play together in the minor leagues. They come up together, and then they fill in with top free agents, right? And you'll have some veteran guys, but it's a mix. And the Giants did try to push up some guys this year, but I know they've got some younger guys, and really like identifying who's going to be within the organization, the future. And so that it might be the GM hire could be from within the organization is what I'm getting at. Like, so that's where somebody who already knows all the players, that's very helpful when you know the guys that are there already. So I don't know what they're going to do. Obviously Buster's a winner, like by every stretch, he's a winner.
Yeah.
So I think that's just such a great message for everybody.
The guy that I'm going to hire for general manager for the San Francisco Giants, Eric Valent, longtime scout, former big league player, teammate of mine at UCLA, as knowledgeable of a baseball guy as I've met in my life, as in tune with the prospects, not only within, you know, whatever organization he's been working with, but everyone else's organization. I think he gets it on so many different levels. He's always said, like, you know, his next move is scouting director, right? He's national prospect, this and that. He's been involved with this. In my opinion, he's so fucking diligent in his work. He's so well organized. This is a guy that I think can absolutely thrive. If I owned a team, I would hire him as my general manager. Totally off the cuff. Doubt it would ever happen because there's no real tie there. But Eric Valent, and then the other guy I'd have working within my organization, you know this as well as I do, Mike fucking Seal. Player agent, someone who is totally in tune with everything going on. It's just your number crunching guy, not necessarily the guy that I'm going to go have negotiate all the contracts and everything else, but he's going to be my right-hand man behind the scenes a little bit, taking care of all the Rain Man work as only Rain Man could do. Your thoughts?
Obviously, I'm friends with both of them. In fact, I was the officiant at Mike Seal's wedding, which that was something. And Eric Valent is one of my favorite people on the planet. And actually, Valent's a really interesting and that type of guy. And I agree with you, he'd be perfect. But it's like because of that background in scouting, I just think that's really, you know, understanding free agents and understanding that market, I think is a lot easier to get up to speed on. And than it is to really understand the entire like holistic, and that was, you know, get to Farhan for a second, but that was his expertise. He came with some of that. But I think that's a great idea. Valent, you know, he's one of my favorites in baseball. He's a real.
What's interesting is that, you know, we get stuck with like bringing our guys, and that's what I love about Stephen Boat, because I know his bench coach is a guy that I don't know, they play together in the minor leagues, and they would always talk strategy and argue. Like it's the same thing like you and I would do, right? Like we would talk about things, and we immerse ourselves in it, in the same way we do about football lines. And well, what if this happened? What if that happened? And as we go over these articles, and how would we attack this, and who would we put here? And like those are the conversations that I think when you're able to have those conversations, and when you're able to surround yourself with not yes people.
Well, you got to imagine, like Posey saw how it worked during the championship years with the Giants. He's got his guys. He's got his guys no different than you got Valent or Seal or these other guys. He's got his guys. And then he goes and he picks. And he's going to have to pick, you're right, an eclectic group. Guys that might, create some friction, which can be really good sometimes in decision making. And some guys that, have different experience in Dominican or, in the inner cities or in Mississippi or whatever, right? I'm just saying he's seen how that worked. And with veteran guys and young guys, because I think the age, having different guys in different generations is really important.
I totally agree. Yeah. And I would have a real strong Latin American presence.
Mm-hmm.
And whether it's obviously from the scouting and the academy and everything else going on, but just having that guy, that glue guy within the big league team, I think is really important to keep everything together. I mean, it can be tough for those guys. I mean, it's the same way when I went to play in Lycée, like to have like that good American, I know what it's like, translator's not even it, but like the person that you can really get tight with and communicate with.
Okay, so I'll ask you, who can you remember on your teams in America, so like, major league teams or otherwise, that was a guy that was glue? Eduardo Perez is always a guy that I know was a guy that brought guys together on certain teams he played on, but like, so who's somebody for you?
From a player perspective, obviously Miguel Tejada.
Okay.
It's just.
So there's a guy, like, for instance, if you were tapping your own group, you're like, all right, let's go. Give Miggy a call. Maybe he wants to work in my front office.
Ramon Hernandez.
Okay.
He's with, ironically, he's on Katse's staff.
Okay, there you go. Exactly. And that's probably a great choice, right?
Yeah. You just have to be relatable, man. And I challenge my kids to this all the time. Like, be the guy. I took a lot of pride in being the dude that got along with everybody. And this goes from high school when I was friends with the jocks. I was friends with the nerds. I was friends with
the stoners.
Yeah. I could go take a freaking
the tree boys. They used to hang out underneath the tree.
Absolutely, just to be able to. And you don't have to be best friends with everybody, but you just got to be like, yo, what's up, dude? And at UCLA, the same thing. It's like I was tight with the football guys. I was tight with the soccer guys. I was tight with the water. It wasn't tight. I mean, I don't know if tight's the right word, but be able to get along with everybody, put a smile on your face. I think that's important. I like to be a man of the people, because ultimately when you create these positive working environments, you make yourself more valuable as a human being. Make sense?
Yeah. That's how you build an organization, is get guys like that. So,
all right, Gall. We're going to finish with this. We got to play pickleball. We're actually already fucking late. So, ranking 134 college football teams after week 7. This is fascinating. Let's just go over the top 10 right now. Holy shit. Why? What? Really? Because of the win against Ohio State, this ranking here in The Athletic has Oregon number 1, Texas number 2, Georgia number 3, Penn State 4, Ohio State 5, Miami 6, Alabama 7, BYU 8. Look out for BYU, by the way. Clemson 9, and Iowa State number 10. That's great and all. 11 to 25, LSU, Tennessee, Kansas State, Notre Dame. Look out for Notre Dame. They're starting to hit their stride after destroying your Stanford Cardinal. Indiana, Boise State, Texas A&M, SMU, Missouri, Pitt at 6-0 after the victory against Cal. Vanderbilt at 4-2 at 21. Well, they had the victory against Alabama. Ole Miss, Navy, Eric Lewis's Navy at 5-0, by the way. Washington State and Texas Tech. But who gives a shit? Because we're going to play a game here. Who do you think's ranked lower? You and I don't know. Stanford or UCLA?
I think UCLA's ranked lower just because Stanford has a win against Syracuse. But having been to a couple Stanford games, I mean, they can't score. They have some serious offensive issues. So I like if there was a spread in the game, it's probably a pick 'em. But I'm going to go UCLA's lower. Yeah, I like Stanford just a tick higher.
Okay, these are two storied programs. One now in the first year in the ACC, the other one obviously first year in the Big Ten.
We haven't run into any of them yet.
I mean, and here we go, and you just got to go lower.
Teams ranked. We've got Tulane.
California. Well, let's
Army. I'm just throwing names out before we get to our two schools.
Yeah, Arizona State. Here's some notable ones: Arizona State at 26, Michigan at 29, Utah at 32, SC at 39. They should have won that game. Washington's at 45, Cal's at 48 at 3-3. Feel like they should be. I mean, they literally could be 6-0.
Northern Illinois at 55, Texas State 66, Sam Houston 65. We're just going.
Fresno State at 68, North Texas at 75.
Yeah, we're not there yet. We're at 75. Here we go. We're getting close. We're getting close. UConn, Buffalo, Toledo round out the top 80 here.
TCU,
TCU's 80. Yep.
San Jose State's at 81.
Yep, we're still not there yet.
Nevada at 83. Coastal Carolina 84. NC State at 85. Wake Forest at 86. And John Gall, your Stanford Cardinal.
by exactly 5 spots. Stanford comes in ranked at 87th in the country. Just a hair ahead of UCLA Bruins at 92.
What a fucking embarrassment. That is so bad. And UCLA's offense, I know there's 134 ranked teams. They're like 130 in offense. How is that even possible? How is it possible?
So just because I'm curious, Kent State right now has the 134th ranking. Kennesaw State and UTEP are right ahead of them. They're the only ones with no wins in the last. Geez, are they the only ones with no wins?
They are.
Yeah.
They're the only 0-win teams in the 134. Oh. That's pretty impressive, though, for parity, right? Yeah. There's only 3 winless teams, as opposed to I think there's 11 teams that are still undefeated.
All right.
John Gall.
That was a pleasure.
Yeah, that was fun, man. We can do this every single day. It's fantastic. As far as Daily Hustle, we're back tomorrow. And if you're listening on Apple, Spotify, Joe, what's up, man? Happy Monday to you. Listening on Apple, Spotify, please leave a review. And let's not forget, we're sponsored by Bet Online, the #1 online gambling destination for all the latest news, scores, odds, predictions, everything else. Go to Bet Online. Get in on the $200,000 giveaway. Don't remember exactly what you have to do for those, but basically you go to Bet Online and you will be able to get in on that action. And Gall, grab a Deckies, man. Let's show your Deckies off, because this is your boy who created this brand. I know I've dipped for a long time. To be able to fire one of these in, all caffeine, no nicotine, fantastic.
Quick story: son, they moved to Idaho. Son put a dip in his mouth. Dad goes, we're not going there. And instead, we're going to build a company where you can put something in your lip. You can actually, look the part out there. And they built this company from scratch. So it's a father-son business put together, and they're doing great.
20 caffeine pouches, 40 milligrams, about the same as a cup of coffee. So as you can tell, I'll fire one in after another.
There you go.
Yeah. Which is blueberry right here?
Yeah, it's my favorite.
All right. Everyone have a fantastic day. Daily Hustle back at you tomorrow.